Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Hot Pole Studios podcast. I'm your host, Adam Steele, and joining me this week is my co-host, Liam Wright. Hiya.
Hello, hello.
Hello. For anyone who's not seen us before, this is a guitar and music tech podcast that we do every week, 8 p.m. UK time, live video on YouTube and Facebook, and then after the fact on iTunes and Spotify and all that good stuff. And it's NAMM this week, apparently, according to all the news. But we're not there, and neither is anybody else. Oh, God, and CES as well. Yeah, there's so many announcements, so many dry announcements from CES that don't have much use for.
I don't know, you see the one that I texted you this afternoon, though? That was kind of cool.
Did, yeah, smart mask.
The Razer Darth Vader Bane mask.
Darth Razer, in fact.
Yeah. It's pretty cool, actually. I don't know how much it's going to be, but it's a sign of the post-apocalyptic world we live in. But like being able to have RGB on you while you're out now, like it's the ultimate gamer mod.
I might do that as a quick news article because it's got like a speaker in it and stuff. So I wonder if you could...
that's what I said. I was like, arguably it could go part of the show because it does have a speaker in. So like, it's some sound.
Yeah, let me just see if I can add that into the doc. There we go. It's added into the news. So coming up, we have a lot of news from NAMM, mostly Fender. I've actually cut out about 6 different articles because it was all here's new guitars from Fender. And there's lots of new gear, couple of things with intellectual property, and Behringer have been up to a lot this week. And I'll talk about why I'm wearing a really stupid outfit. So let's roll the intro. Awesome. There we go. So yeah, let's start with this stupid outfit so I can actually take off this hat because it's making me sweat and I've had it on for 3 seconds. It's a toque. It's what English people call a bobble hat, but it's got Rev on it. REVV, Rev. Because I was sent it by the people from, and here's the big reveal, Rev. How cool is that as a hockey jersey?
That is very cool.
Yeah, and actually,
is Rev Canadian then?
Yes, they are very, very Canadian. They're from like the middle and north of Canada, so proper snowy Canada.
That's really cool.
Yes, it is. And if I can just load in an image, which I've been doing a few weeks now, I wanted to get this and actually pick it up and show it on stream, but it's literally too big. This is in my kitchen right now. This is the Rev Generator 120 Mark III.
I saw that photo and I was like, this is literally like Adam's had a new baby. If that's what this photo is, it's like it's taken with a nice camera. It's like posed. The look on your face is like I've had a second child.
Pretty much, as long as it doesn't start filling nappies, I think we're all good. Although, to be honest, when the import tax bill comes in, that'll be the equivalent of filling several nappies. But yes, it's in wine.
Really nice,
wine Taurus finish. It was actually done on Mickey's phone. It's a Huawei phone. The camera's really nice on them. Yeah. If you don't mind the Chinese government spying on you, then they're a pretty good phone. Yeah.
The payoff you get. It's a great camera though.
Yeah. I wanted to hold it up on stream, but it is massive. It is so big and so heavy. But that thing it's going to get several videos on the channel, I suspect. And it's going to be one of the kind of the centerpieces of our reamping and mixing platform from now forever. So yeah, it's as wide as the fridge behind me, wider. It's a full, I think it's like 90 centimeters, so it's a good 3 feet wide. It's a proper guitar head. It's a big thing. It's the flagship of their range. It's the beast. And yeah, I'm really, really looking forward to using it. I've not actually got a chance to use it today because I've been restringing and setting up all my guitars. After the podcast tonight, I'm going to be continuing to film for the Toneforge Jeff Loomis amp, hopefully releasing that video tomorrow. But this is the only chance I've had because this little office is also shared with my lovely partner Mickey, who works 9 to 5. So I've been doing all the things I can possibly do so that when I film for this, it's ready.
But, is she working from home at the moment then?
Yes. Yeah, because it's the whole national lockdown thing again, they've just sent everybody home. She's got 2 screens and a nice enough setup, but yeah, she's back home working from said office. Which, yeah, this is really a 1-person office with 2 people in it, so it's getting a little small, but yeah, it's fine. We're making do. But yeah, so
you're looking for somewhere at the moment, aren't you?
We are. We're in the middle of signing documents for a new place.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Cool.
So if that all goes through, then I'll tell you all the details of that probably next week. I mean, you personally, not everybody off stream. Don't want to tell everybody where I live.
Yeah, don't dox yourself.
Yeah. Well, yeah. No. Not the best idea, I guess. But yeah. Another thing that happened this week is we had 44,100 subscribers at one point this week. 44,100, if that rings a bell in the audio world.
Oh, right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So now the big push is going to be getting to 48,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, of course, getting to 96, but that's a whole different thing. So, yeah, it's been a big week. That's happened. Rev, that's the big one. I'm sending the Adam S2Vs back. They were great, but it's time to look for new monitors because that's going to be part of the channel from now on, is getting different monitors in. Oh, wow. What else has happened this week? It feels like it was yesterday that I saw you on the podcast. It's been that fast of a week. Oh, boy. Yeah, it's been one of them. Straight back to the grindstone. Time goes wee.
It does indeed.
Yes. How's your week been?
All right. Just plodding along. Yeah, just plodding along.
Yeah.
Just I can't believe it's Thursday already, to be honest. It feels like it was Monday yesterday.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah. I've got a lot of editing to do for my friend John Brown as well, which is keeping me out of trouble when I'm not doing my own stuff. So yeah, keeping me very, very...
I've been getting a bit obsessed with cryptocurrency, to be honest.
Oh, yeah, you mentioned it to me. I didn't know how far down the rabbit hole you wanted to go, because there's been a big, not a crash, but a dip back down in Bitcoin.
No, it's back again.
Is it?
Today.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's in dollars-wise, it's like 39K.
Wow, okay.
So it's almost back at the peak again. Right, it's insane.
Oh, boy.
But I'm just looking, it's mining. I've got this computer running silently at the moment. Just slowly making me pennies.
So, on that Monero, are we?
Yes. So it's interesting. I'm getting a bit obsessed with it. So there's some really interesting ASIC miners that were released in December that do like 750 mega hashes a second, apparently. And I'm like, if this is real, I want one because it's literally printing money.
Are they easier to buy than a GeForce 3080?
Potentially, there's a company in Holland that sell them.
So from some strange person in Holland, you might be able to buy one. Yeah, that's still easier to get than a 3080, where you have to sacrifice a goat on an altar and summon the Nvidia demons.
Yeah, call scan every day for 4 years.
Yeah. Hey man, you got any graphics cards? I was thinking over the last month or so, actually, of building a computer to use for video editing, a proper desktop system. And I've given up on the idea because you just can't get a graphics card of any kind. Because you can't buy the top end ones, people have settled for the lower ones, and that means that there's just none at all.
Oh, really?
Pretty much, yeah. If you look on Scan's website, anything above like a 1060, gone. Just all of them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, just everything is sold out everywhere because, wow. I think over Christmas it was one of those things where people were desperate for a gaming PC, and a lot of them will probably have said, well, I'll get this for now until 3080, 3070 are available again. So just, everything's wiped out across the board on both sides of the branding. So, oh boy.
Well, 1060s are still good enough for mining, so I'm currently on the hunt for 1060s. I think I've just been scammed on Facebook for one though. So.
Oh dear. Oh dear.
It's PayPal. I'll claim it back. It's one of those where something's too good to be true, so you're like, I'll give it a punt. It was selling the 1060 for 65 quid.
Oh,
it's
right.
It's like, I will have that. If it's not real, I'll claim it back. So, anyway, enough of the boring computer stuff. Onto the more fun computer stuff.
Onto the more fun computer stuff, indeed. It's time for the news. The news. And there is no news today. There's no news today. There's the news today. Gotta press a button. So, we already talked about this last week. Audient new ID4 and ID14 Mark II interfaces are now available. And I know that because I got them here. And they're good. And the reason that I put this in is just for a brief mention. Because Audient sent out a tweet earlier today saying that they've now received the shipment of these Mark II series, so they're now being sent out to distributors and retailers. So if anyone was looking to buy one very soon, you'll actually be able to get one, unlike the graphics cards we were just talking about. Yeah. Tallman's website says it'll be about 4 to 5 weeks, but that's just their vague guess. And because, Audient have just turned them around and sent them back out the door, it won't be that long. Although with the whole thing with getting stuff across the channel and Brexit and all that kind of stuff recently, it might be more than a couple of days. So, yeesh. Yeah. I had to apply for a thing today, or was it yesterday, for some European thing that says that I can import and export goods, despite the fact that it's free. And it's like, well, what's the point of this thing? I don't know. Yeah. I had to apply to get a number, which made no sense because it's like, well, if everybody's got to get one, why? Because I've already got a company number and it's free. Why?
Is that some sort of Brexit thing, or?
Yes, I think so. Or at least it may have existed in the past, but is now compulsory.
Right.
Yeah, so it's a bizarre thing. But yeah, companies need to do that now if you import or export anything. And even though I'm not in the import-export business, I just imported a thing. And so now they want me to have documents. Okay, fine. So, moving on from the things that have just been exported for you guys to have imported if you live in non-UK, to something from CES that looks really quite like it's out of Cyberpunk. But the green gives away that it's from Razer. So if you've ever seen those shooting headphones, the earmuffs that you get that have got a microphone in them, you ever seen those? Yeah, this is
I've used them.
Yeah, the clay pigeon shooting ear defenders that have got speakers inside them with volume control. This is the opposite of that. So instead of your ears being protected, it's your mouth being protected and the sound goes out instead of in. So
N90. They reckon they've not been certified yet. They reckon they'll be N95 quality with a seal, so they should actually protect you pretty well from certain particles.
Okay.
And the charging case, if you scroll down, is also a UV. Oh, is it not?
No.
Sorry, I'm a few seconds behind because it's YouTube. Right. Is also a UV sterilization box.
Oh, it's clever.
So it charges it and sterilizes it.
I could do with a box like that for everything, really.
You can get them. Yeah,
like a combination charger / UV cleanser.
I don't know where you get the charger part. We definitely get little boxes that have the little UV cleansing thing in.
I suppose you could just
do they offer a Vader voice change option?
Vader voice changing.
I mean, I'm guessing they charge by USB, so theoretically you could update the firmware on them. I'd really like to hope that there is a voice changer in them because that would be really fucking cool.
That would be pretty cool, yeah. I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Just for fun, Yeah.
I mean, they're not going to be cheap because it's all this. It looks it's Razer, and with the white version, that's like the Apple of face masks.
Well, the competitor one that I saw when I read the article, there's another sort of active smart mask which links with your phone and your Apple health app to track your breathing. And apparently can tell you when the filter needs changing and tell you actually do some analysis of what's in the filter as well, which is pretty cool. They're $120, I think, $150. So with this being Razer, I'd expect it to be a bit above that.
Yeah, with the speakers and everything and the branding, I'd probably look at 200 as a guess.
Yeah, I reckon a little bit less just for the sake of anyone actually then buying it. But it's still just a concept at the moment, so whether they actually get rolled out or not. But they've released it for CS, so
we'll see.
It's interesting.
So, moving on.
I can see them being really big in Japan, where people wear masks anyway. Like, they were wearing masks in the street before this whole thing anyway, just from pollution and stuff. So
yes.
I can definitely see that being a thing.
Yeah, well, hopefully it becomes just part of culture now that it's not weird to wear a mask anymore, but that's going to be a slow change.
Yeah, if you want to. I mean, there's no harm to people, is it? No. I mean, I remember used to, like, really think people, like, in Manchester, like, cycling and wearing masks were just, like, just being really dumb. It's like, now that I've read about what they can do and stuff for pollution and stuff in your health, it's like, actually, if you're riding a bicycle, it's not a terrible idea at all.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if you're just out on the roads all the time, but not in a vehicle that's got an air filter system. Yeah, I mean, why do cars have air filters? It's not too different a reason, surely.
Take an ordinary mask and stick a BMW badge on the front. Yeah.
Yeah.
Puna just says he'll keep wearing his forever. Yeah, I think everyone's changed after this whole thing. Everyone's going to change some of the things. Some people aren't, some people will. Each to their own, really.
I think there's some context here. If you've seen Poo Ninja's, his little icon, he's got the little Darth Vader icon. And he lives on the moon.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah, well, you definitely want a mask on the moon.
Yeah, absolutely. So, moving on to more keyboardy stuff. Sequential have got the OBX trademark. This is a pretty big deal for me, and it is linked to Behringer, of course, because everything leads to Behringer at some point. So, one of my favourite synth makers, a company called Oberheim, whose synth, the OBX, you can see here. I've talked about Oberheim OBXs on stream a few times, because Arturia have made a version. Behringer had the Oberheim copyright for the name and gave that back to Tom Oberheim, which was something we talked about. But the actual OBX is the trademark of the most famous keyboard they made, arguably. Sequential Circuits is not necessarily a rival company of Oberheim. Sequential Circuits was, and now again is, a company from a man called Dave Smith, who I believe is good friends with Tom Oberheim. They ran kind of competing keyboard setups in the 70s and 80s, but when I say competing, the kind of competing where they're respectful friends and, friendly competition, all that kind of stuff. So I believe, Sequential Circuits have grabbed the OBX trademark so that Behringer can't. Because Behringer are planning on making an OBX or an OBXA clone at some point in the near future. And so not having that as an option to actually call it that is, score 1 point for Oberheim. So, very interesting, because I suppose now the option would be for Dave Smith and Sequential Circuits to either keep hold of that trademark or give that to Tom Oberheim as well. It's a good option, because as much as doing that was good PR for Behringer, it might also be just a nice thing for a friend to do. So I couldn't speculate as to whether Oberheim would eventually make an actual OBX again, because apparently the cost was prohibitive at the time. But they call it the OBX because you could put different numbers of voices inside this keyboard, and it costs different amounts depending on how many you put in there. But the OB8, with the 8 cards in, was the Rolls Royce of synths back then, and it just sounded huge, and it's one of my favourites by a long way. If you think of Jump by Van Halen, that's an Oberheim. That big, fat...
Yeah.
Yeah. And so cool. But yeah, that was our IP news for this week. So let's now move on to the NAMM news. NAMM news, NAMM news, NAMM, 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 NAMM news. So, Linndell Audio, who are part of the Plugin Alliance, whose plugins I have been using, have brought out one of the new console strips they call the 50 series, which is the API 500 sound, which API makes them the American punchy, really characterized desks. So this is a really kind of cool new thing. I think I actually, if this has been released already, then I think I already have this. It's definitely part of the Mega subscription bundle, which is $25 a month. I think it'll be part of the Mix and Master bundle.
Right.
Which is the $15 a month one, which doesn't have a lot of extra stuff like their virtual amps and that kind of thing, because I don't need them. I've got enough virtual amps to last me a lifetime. But yeah, if I want to do a mix on a song that's really kind of punchy, the actual mixing desks that did this were used on a lot of classic 70s stuff, like Fleetwood Mac is a really good example. A lot of Fleetwood Mac stuff was done on API. A lot of that big American garage rock type stuff is all very API. Where every preamp in those desks is so ridiculously hot that it's on the edge of distortion before you even do anything. Yeah. Although Pooh Ninja's quite right, for guitar amps, all I need is the Generator Mark III, which I'm so excited. But yeah, Mage says, did the OBX come after the Oberheim Matrix 12? They were roughly the same kind of time, I believe. The Matrix was more like the rack unit version, I think, and the OBX was the key body. So yeah, moving back to that for a second. But yeah, oh, this has got the actual slidey EQ I've just seen in that picture. That's really cool. This slidey EQ here, that's the API 560 EQ, and that, I mean, Waves do a version of that, and a lot of engineers that I know still swear by that. So anyone who's looking at moving away from Waves, which is something that I know that certain producers are looking at doing, there's your option right there. I mean, even if you use the whole channel strip but don't touch anything and just use that bit, it's going to sound great. Yeah, it is not endorsed by API, however, which is fine. I mean, if it sounds like it's supposed to, then it sounds like it's supposed to. I've learnt recently, really getting to know some behind-the-scenes stuff in this industry, that it doesn't have to be the best plugin to be the one that is endorsed by the company. Not just API, but the company that made the original gear. It's quite often the company that will give them will either get there first or will give them the most lucrative royalty deal, which comes down to being the larger company quite a lot of the time, which is why Waves have a lot of licenses for stuff like the API collection, the SSL collection, because Waves, being as big as they are, could go to a company and say, we will give you this sum of money, large sum of money, and they go, yes, please. I mean, if you're a big company and no one else is doing it, which is why I talk about being the first to get there, why wouldn't you? Yeah. I mean, if a big company like Waves came up to me and said, I want to make a plugin that is all about you and will pay you this much money, and no other company was doing it, if it was enough money for me to be able to just, retire, I'd just be like, go on then. It's not going to happen. Absolutely not going to happen. So I'm quite comfortable with joking about that kind of thing. But, that's how industry works. And then you see the companies who don't license their IP out and don't do well from not doing, especially the way that everything's going software these days. Which I say everything's going software, having just bought a Valve preamp. Did you see that picture that I put up?
Yes, I did actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
That looks quite nice.
It does. Go on. I'll just I'll bring that in. So that's that picture. Sorry, let me just change that to the other picture. For anyone who's not seen this, come on, load up quicker, you phone. There we go. This is because I keep all my pictures on my Dropbox, so I've not actually got them. Whoa, that's big. Not got them downloaded to the computer. I was not expecting it to be that big. There we go. So this is my new preamp. It's a Drama 1960. I didn't know they still sold these. But it's got 4 valves in it. It's 2 valve preamps going into 2 valve compressors. And it sounds incredible. And the first time I used one of these was 16 years ago. My first year of university, and it sounded incredible. And we tried to get into that particular room that had this unit to use it every time. So when I left, I was like, yeah, I want one of them. And then I thought Drama had stopped making it because the retail on a new one's nearly $2,000. And I paid not that for it. Yeah, I paid definitely not that for it. And yeah, I've been keeping an eye out for one on eBay for a long time, and one came up at a very definitely not that price, where I was like, yes please, yes please. So yeah, it's funny for someone who's gone down the like digital slate microphone route. I'm finding myself going down the other route now, but so good. I mean, it's got line inputs as well, so I could actually drive the Generator Mark III through the Drama preamp. Get some amazing guitar tones. Oh, that's going to be good.
That is going to be good. Looking forward to that.
Yes. That's going to be a video in itself. But yes, let's move on because there's a lot to talk about from NAMM. Although I only actually picked 4 articles, it looks like. NAMM, IK Multimedia's Uno Synth Pro and Uno Synth Pro Desktop. Right, I was about to say they're the same name, but one's a tiny little version. So IK Multimedia, known for guitar synth, but also known for things like Sample Tank. IK are pretty big now. I was pretty sure that IK were owned by Fender, but I still stand to be corrected. I can't confirm that anywhere. But yes, this, I'm not entirely sure if this is... Oh, right, so it's actually a synth. It's not just like a keyboard controller. It's a 3-oscillator analog sound engine, which means it's got three generators in the synth. You could say it's a Generator Mark III.
A generator.
And
I don't quite understand what that means.
So things like sine waves and square waves, you can only generate one at once from an oscillator or generator. So if you can make 2, you can make a really thick, fat sound, and 3 makes for a really big synth sound. Because yeah, you can tune them slightly out of tune with each other. With each other is how you get that really big kind of trance synth. The kind of, I call it the dance Hoover, if you know what I mean. The kind of early 2000s Wigan Pier kind of thing. So yeah, you stack lots and lots of these oscillators on top of each other, and you filter it out a bit so it doesn't sound like bees trying to kill each other, and then that's how you get big synth sounds. So I think it's really cool that they're doing this twice, so that one's much smaller, which I'm imagining that the small version, you're probably going to use USB a lot, and just not necessarily use the keys on there unless you really kind of, it's the only thing you have on your desktop, in which case it's nice to have little keys just to tap it, you know, but you're not going to play Mozart on that thing.
No.
But if you've actually got a pre-programmed MIDI part, or you've got a MIDI part that you can play out of, I don't know, Reaper, Pro Tools, Ableton Live, whatever it is you've got, and run it into the synth on this, that could be really cool to actually get an analog synth, but just plugged in by USB or whatever it is. And yeah, so the big one's got a keyboard by Fatar, who make really nice actual physical keyboardy keys. And it's got just capacitive touch on the little one, so it's like an iPhone screen kind of thing for the keys.
All right.
And then, yeah, there's a lot of funky little steps on. Let's see how much this costs. Ooh, 64-step sequencer and arpeggiator and stuff. So you hold down a few keys and it goes... So, yeah, the full keyboard version is $649, which is a little rich. The little version's $399, which means that I think that's going to be the one that most people get. Because that makes it in the price range where a lot more people, I think, are going to go on, I'll just buy one.
Mm-hmm.
And that's full retail price. Give it 3 months, you'll probably find them on sale for $299. Bet you. So we'll see. First quarter 2021, which of course means they'll be available in May because that's how NAMM works. NAMM, of course, stands for not available, maybe May. So, Yamaha debuts their MSP3A powered studio monitor and reference speaker, which, looking at the size of these knobs, suggests to me that this is tiny. So, this is the kind of thing, twisted flare port technology. So that, yes, 4-inch woofer, so that's not much more than 4 inches across. This is a tiny little thing. I might actually end up with a pair of something like this when I move house, because if I get a slightly bigger office, I'd like to have something on my desk so I can hear things without headphones.
Yeah, I need to get some better speakers because I've just a little crappy Creative 2.1 thing. Which is, I mean, it's fine. Like, they're better than I thought they were going to be, but
well, if you dig through our boxes downstairs, you've still got like a 7.1 system.
Yeah, but I've got a feeling these speakers are actually probably better than those, given that they're
we've come a long way in 20 years, that's for sure.
Yeah, literally are 20 years old.
Yes. But yeah, I mean, these are 22-watt little things. But these could be exactly what I'm looking for, not to mix on, because I don't think I could mix on something like these, because they'll have no low end, despite the fact that they've got these like twisted flare ports, because you know about ports on speakers, roughly. Yeah. So if you don't have a port on a speaker, if it's just a sealed speaker, then you get really accurate sound, but it doesn't get very bassy. If you put a port into a box, then it can kind of vibrate at a lower frequency, so you can sound like you've got more bass going on than you actually have. But then if you pump it too loud, that port then starts to rumble and vibrate and make horrible noises. And yeah, as Poo Ninja says, ports lie. They kind of, although most speakers that you see will have some form of ports on them, you can engineer them.
These little creative ones have them at the top.
Yeah, because they make it sound deeper and bassier than it actually has any right to be. That's how the design works. But it's not.
Yeah, that's why I'm impressed by them.
Yeah, it's not very sonically accurate, but if you're not after sonic accuracy, if you just want something nice, it's fine. It's great.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of bass cabs have ports on them. If you go out and see bass players, their ports quite often have ports on the cabs. Because at the super low end of the bass cab, you just want more oomph, and you don't want it to be, you don't need it to be perfect, arguably. But that's where you get into all these kind of arguments. The twisted flare, I can't see a picture of it, but the gist will be that they've done something with the design to stop the air from rattling around and making that kind of noise. Because if you've got a port's a tube, you force air through a tube, what happens? It becomes a trumpet, essentially. And if you push too much air through it, it starts making noises, resonances, which adds to the sound and makes it sound a bit crap. But if you can adjust it so it's not trumpet-shaped anymore, maybe, I don't know, you could get some benefit out of it. But yeah, I might get something like this, or a pair of iLouds or something like that. Yeah, I don't need them though. I mean, for what I'm doing here in my office, the VSX are brilliant. They're absolutely fantastic. So, is that Ivy? Sounds like Ivy's not sleeping. Great. Children, they're brilliant. And Andre in chat says we called ported subwoofers one-note wonders. Because it worked on one frequency only, which is so true. When I had a bass system as a bass player that was ported, if I did a scale down the low end of the bass, it would be like note, 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 quiet, quiet, note! And there'd be one particular note that would just rattle everything. So I actually stopped using ported cabs which does mean you need a much louder amp to drive it. Those big Ampeg, like 8x10 fridge speakers that bass players have, they don't have ports on them, which is one reason why a lot of bass players like them, is that no matter what note you play, it does what it's supposed to do. Even though it doesn't do it very well, which means you need an extremely loud amp to make it work.
Right.
It does what it's supposed to do, which is the trade-off, Yes. So, let's talk about the last NAMM article. I think it's the last NAMM article. I picked one of the Fender news articles rather than all of them because they went on and on and on and on. So the headline is Fender have got new guitars. That's kind of the long and short of it. But this is the one that caught my eye. The 75th anniversary guitars to mark its diamond anniversary. Apparently it was 1946 that Leo Fender created the Fender Instrument Company. Fender Electric Instrument Company, I do apologise. Yes. So, these are really pretty. I like gold hardware, which is, not everybody's favourite thing. And it very much depends on the design of the guitar or bass. I mean, if you put gold hardware on this silver one, for example, the Telecaster, I think that would look disgusting. However, with the kind of the wooden the burst finish on this Stratocaster here, I actually quite like the gold hardware there. What do you think on gold?
I'm not a fan of gold in general.
No?
No. I wear a gold necklace, but it's only because it's my nan's. Other than that, I don't really like gold anything. It's not really my thing.
That's fair.
I don't even have a gold wedding ring.
Fair enough, yeah. I don't like gold for the sake of gold. So I completely get where you're coming from, but it all depends on context. I'm looking around. I've actually got
It's just preference. I mean, ultimately, just not a fan of the color that much.
No, it's fair. It's all context. David Imrie says, "You are dead to me now." Yes, quite. All the guitars and basses that are in this room, only one of them has any gold hardware, and that is the PRS. And actually, the only gold on here is the gold bridge. And I think that really sits quite nicely. In fact, no, it's not even a gold bridge. It's just brass saddles that make it look gold in the light to me, which is why I thought it was gold. But I think that fits in context really quite nicely. I wouldn't just slap gold onto a guitar or bass. Actually, he says, I have one bass here which has one gold tuner. And that's just me being stupid. Because this is my workhorse. This is not a pretty instrument. This is not a looker by any stretch of the imagination. If you look closely at that, it's pretty horrible, actually. But it's like the professional touring musician's equivalent of the 14-year-old's guitar covered in stickers. It's personalised, but without being overtly personalised. It's one of those where if I threw it around on stage, you'd have to be looking pretty closely for the weird personalizations. But so yes. Anyway, what's your opinion on this diamond anniversary Strat in silver and black?
Just gonna wait for the YouTube to catch up.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's nice.
I really like that kind of thing. And then, I mean, the prices are reasonable on these as well. Oh, actually, these prices from Tallman are without VAT. So we're probably looking at £850, which is still not four-figure territory, actually.
No.
And so here's the ones that I like, but they are a little more expensive. We're definitely reaching almost the $2,000 mark with these. With deep C profile, rolled fingerboard edges, US model, custom shop fat 60s pickups. So yeah, RRP. Yeah, we're looking around the $2,000 mark for these, and same for this. If you really, really like Fenders and Maybe if you play in a country band, you can get the one with all the gold hardware, because that's probably quite appropriate there. David says they ripped off the PRS Silver Sky. Yes, quite. Yeah, actually, I'm going to grab another guitar that I've got over here that I've not shown on the podcast before. Let's see if you like the colours on this.
He's gone. He's done with your chat.
I'm back.
Oh, no.
I'm back. Oh, there we go.
Now he's lost all the weight with your beard and your styling. You've got a bit of Kevin Smith about you.
Yeah. Yeah, I just need to go vegan now.
Yeah.
So this is a Vola Oz, and it's roasted maple, and check this colour out.
Ooh, fancy.
Yeah, just a bit fancy, eh? Yeah, Ivy saw it. Ivy's got an obsession with guitar. I might have mentioned it last week. Where
you did, yeah.
Ivy's like, guitar, and she saw this one, and she was just like, ooh. So, yeah. Nice, subtle, classic, understated. Yeah, all the things I like. But this is courtesy of Vola Guitars. So I'm going to use it in the I'm going to use it in the Jeff Loomis video. But actually, if I put this on the neck pickup, it sounds exactly like a classic Stratocaster. You shut your eyes and start playing it, and it sounds like what we've got on screen here. It doesn't sound like it should look like this. But then the paint's just a finish, really, if we're being honest. They do a version of this that is in like a grey finish, I believe, like Battleship grey. And it sounds much more like it looks like that, rather than it looking like this. When it's got a roasted, I think it's roasted maple neck. Yeah, so roasting's really cool because it caramelizes the sugars in the wood or something, which means that the neck's really, really stable then. And it looks darker, and it's really cool. Yeah. What's that swirl called? I don't know. It's the Vola Oz. Let me look up the model. It's the Oz ROA, made in Japan. Let's have a look. I'm just loading that up. It removes moisture. It does that as well. Yeah, so it's the Oz ROA. Let's just plop that in there so you can see it. Yeah, the Oz ROA. There are a few videos on there. One's from Fluff. I think one's from Henning, of course. But yeah, I really, really like this guitar. So, yeah, hopefully it stays. But talking of amazing guitars, here's an amazing guitar that's slightly more garish than mine is. I don't suppose you saw the Mountain Dew guitar meme?
No.
No, well, this was a meme. And because the whole joke between Jared Dines and Stevie T was the more gent you can get with the 19-string guitars.
I've seen one of these. Yeah, I've seen one of these guitars before. Yeah.
So this isn't real. This is photoshopped with Mountain Dew and all that kind of stuff on it. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that was the joke, running joke, and so Jared Dines now has a real one. Because why not? Because Jared flipping
why
Dines.
Not?
So yeah, he's got a 20-string multi-scale Mountain Dew guitar, and so
incredible.
Yeah, I saw an update on Instagram earlier that Mountain Dew have now DM'd Jared Dines, and they're going to give him a lot of Mountain Dew swag because Mountain Dew gonna go crush a dude. I mean, I'd love to have one of these on the wall just to say that I had one. I would never play it. I have a 7-string bass, and that's too much. Throw another 13 on there, and I'm out. I tried desperately last week playing John Brown's 8-string guitar. My head doesn't do it. It made no sense. It's just boing, boing, boing all the way at the bottom. But yeah, that was worth mentioning because it's funny. And so, on to Behringer news. It's time for a large Behringer Corner.
Yeah.
So
Behringer Corner of the room.
Yes.
Half room.
Behringer Corner. So this is the BCR32. Behringer are going to work with a company called Sequential to bring back the BCR 2000, which was very similar looking to this and covered in knobs, as a sequencer. Not sure entirely how that works, but apparently it does. Yeah, I nearly bought one of the old version of these years back. They also had a version with faders.
The old MIDI controller, wasn't it?
Yeah, they had one covered in knobs and one covered in faders.
Yep.
A lot more people bought the one with faders on and were swiftly disappointed. So yeah, apparently they're updating it as a MIDI controller and as a desktop sequencer. So
fair enough.
Yeah, I'm guessing that you can just sequence certain controls so that it does the whole like kind of thing. Yeah. But yeah, there you go. Along with MIDI in and out and through, apparently you've got 4 channels of CV and gate, which means it'll be able to trigger actual analog synths, which is pretty cool. And USB, of course, good old square, cheap USB does the job. No USB-C here, no. Oh, 2 foot switch inputs, so you can have pew-pew go on the foot. That's cool. And yeah, Behringer say they can get this to market for $149. That's very competitive pricing for something like this.
Sweet.
Yes. So, another bit of synth news from Behringer. Behringer flashes their VCS3 clone prototype. So, I don't know why they've been putting out tiny little photos, but we talked a while back about the VCS3 because it's like the Pink Floyd synth. Pink Floyd use loads of synths, but this is the one from, Dark Side of the Moon, don't you?
Of course I do, yeah.
Yeah, so after the opening track, it's that that's on the run. That's all a VCS3. That's one of these, or at least the actual one, not the Behringer one. And so, yeah, it's been rumoured that they were making something like this, and now the photo confirms it. That's an original one. I played with an original one back at university, and I should have just taken it with me because no one was going to miss it, but I couldn't do that, There was just a part of me that said, what? Because they had 2 of these just in a storeroom next to one of the music teacher's hung up shorts from going running. They had been long forgotten about. And in fact, they had a stack of Akai samplers next to them, a stack of them, I kid you not. And I just took one, went up to the head of the music inventory department, or whatever it was called in the music school. They had a guy whose job it was to maintain the inventory list. I just had it on my shoulder and went, "Do you need these? Can I have one?" And he looked at it and went, "Oh, yeah, you can have one of them. Just have it." So I did. And I really should have said that about one of these, because now they are worth about $3 or $4 grand. Because there's been a big resurgence in retro synths, where 15 years ago, when I was saying to this guy, "Can I have this?" no one cared. Retro wasn't a thing like that. No one was looking for anything like this. Nobody cared. Now it's back to being all the rage. With YouTube being a big thing, there are a lot of restoration channels. There are a lot of public projects about how to fix broken synths, that kind of thing. That wasn't the deal then, so I think people assumed if it had broke, that was it. It was trash. And now people are realizing, actually, I should have kept that and I should have just fixed it.
Yeah. So the thing is, knowing the value of stuff.
Yeah.
What's going to appreciate in time. Some of the crazy things you think were useless.
Yeah. I know.
Reminiscing recently. Remember all those hours we were mining Bitcoin in the studio and thought, nah, this won't be worth it. We're not making electricity costs.
Yeah. Oh, God, yeah. If we just kept at that.
We were mining Litecoin, I think, at the time.
Yeah.
And Dogecoin.
Dogecoin. We could have had millions of Dogecoin by now. That'd be worth about £3.50. But yeah, I mean, that looks like we're looking forward to seeing how much this is going to cost. and then doing the boo boycott Behringer thing, but the option will be there. Oh, it looks like they've taken the old VU meters that they never put into their silver rack units and have just stuck them in the VCS3. They've probably been at the back of a warehouse for 10 years, but they're making use of them. Fingers crossed for a Behringer Keystep Pro. Ooh, I would smell a lawsuit if that happened. Ooh, because, Arturio and Behringer are not getting along because of reasons that we've talked about on the podcast. Now, last but not least, more Behringer. Tallman becomes a Behringer super partner. Super partner. I'm not entirely sure what this means, but it seems like they've signed some sort of deal that that Tallman just sell Behringer stuff cheaper and buy the pallet load. So I'm imagining that because Behringer are one of the biggest music retailers in the world and Tallman are the biggest music retailer in Europe, they just worked out a deal where instead of them sending, a pallet of Behringer stuff every couple of weeks, now they just send a truck a day with Behringer stuff to save costs and just sell it cheap. I mean, I think the other super partner, because it says they're the second super partner, I think the other one would be Sweetwater in America. So the reason that I think it's the other one is Sweetwater is they just started selling all the Behringer guitar pedals, which there's been a lot of, and nose turning and, kind of, from the guitar community. They're selling them at $19 each. How do you even do that? How do you make a profit on $19 pedals? I mean,
I have no idea.
A lot of these pedals, they are basic just clones and rip-offs of other pedals. And if you look at them, if you open them, it's component to component the same. They've not even cut corners. That's the mad thing.
Right.
The one corner I know they've cut is that the housings are cheap plastic rather than proper folded metal. But yeah, wow. So there are a couple of pedals that they make, like the Super Fuzz, the SF300, which is a great pedal. It's a clone of a Boss pedal that Boss don't even make anymore. So because Boss don't make it, I wouldn't feel particularly bad about buying one. Whereas, I wouldn't want to take money off a company that actually push boundaries like Boss if it's something where, that's their thing. Like the DS1 is like, if you can afford a DS1, buy a Boss DS1. Don't get a Behringer DS1. But yeah, like I say, if Boss have decided to discontinue a pedal and another company is making it, I have less of an issue with that. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
David says, I hate to mention the B word, Brexit, but are we going to pay extra taxes on Tallman? I don't know. I think so. I think that's going to suck. Yeah. So, the general gist that I've gotten from my YouTuber friends is that, like, Tallman now don't charge VAT to English customers, but we pay the VAT plus whatever import duty and whatever is due when it arrives now. Which sucks because all the companies are going to charge us administrative charges. Great. The Boss 7 Band EQ, great overdrive. What? Are you insane? Actually, John Brown uses the Boss EQ as the first thing in his chain, and I keep telling him, you're insane, man. But he sounds good, so it must be right. Thank you, Rumi, in chat. Apparently, Everts acquired Studer brand from Harman. Studer being the people who make the classic tape machines. It affects him personally. Okay. So that's, Studer to the Harman group. Let's see who's in the Harman group, because that's the other big set of companies. The Harman group is companies such as, AKG and Lexicon and Arcam and Soundcraft, JBL, all those kind of people. DBX, Digitech. Yeah, there's a lot of companies there, but Studer's listed on the website. They probably won't be for much longer. But yeah, so it looks like Studer, because they don't actually make the classic tape machines anymore. They, I don't know what Studer do make. Oh, they make stuff. Looks like they make live broadcast and installed sound more than anything, which is very different to what I know them for, but it's fine. So yeah, there you go. That's breaking news from the chat.
Fair play.
Oh, Rumi says he can touch the Sergeant Pepper J37 every day, and now they'll take it away. Oh, that sucks. But yeah, go and touch it as much as you can. Quickly, go touch it. So that was the news.
The news.
Yes, lots of news. Sorry, I'm itching my nose. You may notice I'm conspicuously without a drink this week. Don't worry, I'm not doing any like dry January or anything like that. It's just that I have to do this tone. I don't have to, but I want to do this Toneforge video tonight so that I can get that edited and out tomorrow. Because the guys from Toneforge want me to do it tomorrow so that we can promote the video accordingly, which will be cool. But yeah, I've already done the start and end of the video, and I've finally got the studio set up to a point where the shot of me in the chair is something I'm really happy with, and I've been tweaking it for years. And I finally got to a point where I've got 4 powerful lights, all with softboxes, really dim the back ones, really blasted the front one, all this kind of stuff. And it's got finally to the point where it looks great. And I'm loading up a picture of that for you now, if I can. It's like Adam's slideshow today, isn't it? Is that the one? It's doing this really annoying thing to me, where I might have to save it off. No, I don't have to save it off my phone. What a complete wally. Nice. Where's he put it? Come on. Talking to himself in the third person. He's definitely lost it now. There we go. This is going to be way too big, I think. But yeah, there we go. Now in 4K, looks like that. That's
very nice.
That's with no grading. Well happy. Yeah, and a really, really awful T-shirt with Santa in space.
That looks really good.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm well happy with that. There you go.
So.
Yeah, so that's the other thing that I've done. I got into the studio this week and I've been working on a thing that I can't tell you about but that thing will be ready soon. And I've been capturing 2 Notes cabs, and hopefully a load of them will be out tomorrow. Which, yes, tomorrow we will have 3 different Fender Twins available on the 2 Notes store. One with the original Jensen speakers, one with Celestine Creambacks, and one with Alnico Golds. We'll have a PV8x10 bass cab. I actually can't remember all of them because, my memory's crap. Let's have a look. So I've got a vintage Ampeg 4x12 guitar cab and a vintage Ampeg 4x12 bass cab. What else? I've got an oversized Marshall 4x12 with K100s, and also the same cab but with Alnico Golds. What else have I got? I think that might be all of them for now. That's 8 cabs, because I've got one that we're holding off for a week because I'm just recapturing something, which is a 2x12 Zilla bass Fat Boy. So we've got a Zilla bass cab coming probably next week. That'll just take a little tweak. Yes.
Very cool.
So Yeah, they're all coming hopefully tomorrow, if not within a few days. So there's a newsletter going out with 2 notes tomorrow, so hopefully they'll be in that. So that's something that I've been working on over Christmas and New Year, as well as everything else. So yeah, that's another thing that'll be ready to go. And this other thing, which I'm working on, should be finished very soon, and then I'll be able to tell you all about it, and that'll be great. And then the Celestian video's still taking a little while. Now I've got the rev, I've got all the amps that I need. I've got 3 out of the 6 performances that I need from the guitarist. So Glenn, if you're watching this, Jamie, if you're watching this, get me your riffs. Yeah. Oh, Danny says now more than 25% on 2 notes. So let me think. So not quite. 2 notes just celebrated having 400 cabinets in the 2 notes store, and including the Victory cabinets and these, that is a total of 90. Which means that I am almost 1/4 of the 2 notes store. I'm still working on it.
It's crazy.
Oh, tell me about it. So yeah, I'm going to keep working, and hopefully, I will be 1/4 of the 2 notes store eventually. That'll be something to be strangely proud of, because no one actually cares. But hey, it's a fun thing. Marty says, "How online are you going to be at next week's NAMM?" I'll be all the online. If NAMM is still going by virtual NAMM is going. Oh, you mean how much of the actual NAMM presentations and stuff am I going to watch? The answer is none, 0, nada. I am very busy, and I'm sure some of the presentations are going to be cool, but nah, I've got other things I need to be getting on with. So I will be getting on with those things. Yeah. How many IRs go into a single mic and speaker combo? Oh, for 2 notes? Unfortunately, I cannot say, because it's under NDA. There's a specific proprietary method. The answer I can tell you is lots. It's more than you would think because of the way the system works. The way that they've actually got like variable knobs that you can change the distance of the mic and that kind of thing. Yeah, it's lots, and it drives you insane, and it's very noisy. And yeah, sometimes at night I have whoop going through my brain.
Yeah.
Yes. So yeah, now I've been far too close to nearly 100 cabinet captures times lots times 8 microphones. So yeah. Yes, I remember when I did the Victory ones, that was the worst, because if you look on the 2 note store, you will find 40 different Victory cabs, and I had to capture all of them for 8 different microphones. And that took, I think, something like 10 solid days.
Yeah.
Yeah, and oh my word. I mean, after the end of the 2nd day, I was tired. By the end of the 10th day, I felt like one of the clones from the film Moon. Have you ever seen Moon? The
yes.
Duncan Jones film, yeah. Sam Rockwell. Yeah, so I just, yeah, I felt like I looked like death by the end of it, because like it's the strangest thing, because the way that you tend to do impulse responses, if you're doing a series, a collection of them, you'll put a microphone in a certain position, then you go out of the room, you close the room so you don't go deaf because it's loud. You do the capture, you verify it's right, which takes a couple of minutes to sit down, make sure your gain's right, do that, stand up again, go back into the room, move the microphone a little bit, make sure it's in the right place with that little bit, close the door again, go and sit down again, 2 minutes, and it's like water torture. It's just, it never quite stops. You never rest for quite long enough. So if you're doing a 12-hour day of up, down, up, down, up, down, it's death of 1,000 cuts. which, yeah, I was really quite worn out by the end of it, but I had these really stiff, toned calves from getting up and down. But yeah, there's no use to if you want to spend a whole day in bed just going, no more.
No.
But yeah, that's about all I can say about the 2-note stuff. Can't you use a Dynamount? No, you cannot. No, for the way it works, that would be nice, but no. And also, when I started doing 2-notes captures, the Dynamount didn't exist. But yeah, do you adjust gain when you move the mic when taking IRs then? Yes, because you want impulse responses that you take to be within a certain range. You don't want them to be too quiet and full of noise from preamps, and you don't want them to be too loud because you don't want them to clip. So, yeah, I mean, it's no secret that if you're capturing the room as well as being really close to a speaker, if you move a microphone right to the back of the room, it's going to be way too quiet. So you're going to have to go up to your microphone gain controls and turn it up. So, yeah, when you're doing that for multiple cabinets, after a while, you just start to go stir crazy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Especially in a room with no windows.
Okay, questions from the chat. I saw one earlier. If anyone's got any questions that I missed in the chat, do feel free to post them again. So I have a Marshall MG10, Boss ME80 and a Gibson Les Paul. Would you recommend me to upgrade my amp or buy a pair of reference monitors with guitar rig or some sort? Yes. I mean, it's hard to give a definitive answer because I don't know what your situation is and I don't know what you need or what you want.
Yeah, what's the purpose? What you're trying to achieve?
Yeah. Is it for you to play at home in the front room and just enjoy it, just that? Is it potentially to go out and play shows? Is it to record yourself? Is it to record yourself for release? What's the budget? Because if you have whatever budget, budget doesn't matter, then I'd say...
Do you have neighbours?
Yeah. I'd say get yourself a Rev G20. Not the G120, not the big thing that I just bought. The little one, the G20, is a 20-watt amp, which is still loud. I mean, you can gig with it, but you can unplug speakers entirely, and you can plug headphones into it, and it's got virtual cabinets that sound incredible with a real valve amp. But you can also then connect XLR outputs from that into a recording system and get recording ready sound. But they're not cheap. They're well over £1,000. I think it's something like 1,500, something like that. They are not cheap. But yeah, so yeah. If you've got a Gibson Les Paul and that's your thing, then that's your thing. Don't change that. Boss ME80 depends what you're using it for. If you're using it for all the distortions and that kind of thing, I would change that out. Or if you're using the MG10 and trying to get things like distortion out of that, I would change that first because that's one of the MG series is Marshall's cheap solid state stuff and it's never going to sound great. But also you've not kind of given us any indication of what kind of sounds you like and what you're going for. But there's a whole world out there. So, yeah, just start looking around YouTube and look at channels like Andertons and people like that. Have a budget in mind and then start looking at videos if you need an amp combo of amp combos in that range. And very quickly you'll be able to go, don't like that, I like that. Very quickly you'll get these ideas. Sound clips are the best thing for something like that. And for the questions you're asking for a music retailer, I think. So yeah, check out things like the Andertons channel. They're really good at that. Anthony Best says, did you make the Rev impulses for the 2-note store? I did not. Rev are based in Canada and they have all their cabinets up there. I would have loved to have done the Rev cabinets. But logistically, I don't think it would have made any sense. As much as I've done a lot of work with 2-notes as well, at that time, I probably wasn't as well known for it as I am now. Victory are a UK-based company, which means that it very much made logical sense for them to send me all the cabinets and for me then to do that work, because they didn't have to ship them from, the other side of the world.
No.
Yeah. Thing is, with if someone like Rev were to send me a single cabinet, it would be expensive to fly it over, but it would be doable. If they were to send me their entire range, that would not be cost effective to fly it. So you'd end up shipping it, which would take a month and a half at least, at which point they may as well have found someone else who knows how to do it, which is fine by me. There's enough to go around for everybody. Henry says, any tips for getting clients at the start for producing/mixing? This is always the hardest question, because the short answer is not really. Everybody does it their own way.
Yeah, I think the key thing is make sure you get paid. Don't do stuff for free, and don't do things for exposure unless you are really willing to take a gamble. You can't pay your bills with exposure.
Yes.
People will take the mick out of people in the creative industry all the time, thinking that they're happy that they need to pay for a guitar, but they feel that the person recording that guitar could just do it for free. They wouldn't expect to go into a guitar shop and get it for free. However, we have definitely done things for free over the years, or it's about finding the right partnerships and making sure that there's something in it for both of you. One of the best things to do, if you can do something, if you need to do something for free, don't do it for 100% discount and give an invoice for it that's discounted, so they know what the price should have been. Make sure that they're aware of the value that you're giving and a monetary value, and say, look, I'll do like a few of them or do it at like 90% discount, get people to pay a little bit for it. And again, don't do it for just a tenner or like dead cheap or for a pint. Do it for something with a big discount on it, so they're aware. Because if they're not willing to pay a full price if they could afford it, or if it's a matter of you proving yourself, like you say, look, if I prove myself, then you'll pay me full rate. If they're not willing to do that, then you don't want them as clients. But aside from that, if you've got any money to start out, Facebook ads are one of the best places to kind of find people and get yourself out there. You can do it just to promote your page, etc. Google is still really strong. Like whenever we've put time and effort into the SEO in the studio, being the top of your local area for recording studio in your area will work for getting calls. But the most important thing is build relationships.
Yeah.
There's nothing better than actually building relationships with people. Go out to gigs when gigs are happening, or go online and reach out to bands and just create relationships. Like our channel, for instance, has grown massively since Adam's done all this work. Since we went to NAMM last year and then started building relationships, the channel's grown extraordinarily, and it's no kind of coincidence.
Absolutely. I mean, parallel to that, at the same time, get good at what you do. But just
start when you're ready.
Yeah, but I mean, work and work and work. Try and find somebody that you know who isn't your best friend to listen to what you're working on and give you honest feedback. That will help you a lot. Because if they're a friend of yours but not your best friend, they're not desperately trying to please you by saying, oh, it's great. But at the same time, they're not the client. So if they say, oh, I don't like this, I don't like that, nobody's been let down. And then you can then take that feedback on board, try those things, see if that works. And then by the time you're doing that with paying clients, then you know all the pitfalls, you know what to look out for, you know what your strengths are, you know things like how your monitoring system works, that kind of thing, which sounds silly, but like depending on your monitoring setup, like my monitoring setup in my studio for years, I found that vocals were actually really quiet in the mix on the speakers in the room that I used. But whenever I mixed the vocals at what I felt was the right level, I'd give it to somebody and they'd be like, whoa, the vocals are louder than everything. As a good example. So I got to know that. So then I learnt that and adapted it to what I had. And then I started giving mixes to people who were like, I really like this. We can release this as an album. This is great. And so got to a level that other people were happy with. And yeah, start charging from there. Don't necessarily start charging like Hollywood rates, but yeah, don't undercharge for your services, definitely.
Charge something, or still give them 100% discount. It's really important that people know the value of what you're offering.
Yes.
Even if like you're starting out with low rates, like definitely make sure the first thing in terms of figure out what other people are charging your area, and then if you can afford to, charge a little bit less. If you're just starting out, especially, and weigh yourself against experience. If someone with 10 years experience near you is charging, I don't know, say $200 for a session. Like, well, if you've only got 1 year, then you definitely shouldn't be charging that amount. But also figure out like what minimum wage is, what you need to survive, and you can figure out what your costs can be from there, and then figure out what you can afford to do in terms of doing discounts to people to get a bit of a portfolio. But yeah, just don't do stuff for free, because you'll end up just doing stuff for free. People don't see the value of it. Yeah. Like, make sure there's value attributed to it.
Yeah, a few times early on in our studio career, we would have people where we would help them out and we never quite spelled out what our time was worth, and they would call us up at all hours like, oh, I just need this, I just need that, I just need that, and it'd be like,
yeah,
no, you don't just need any of this. We've helped you out of the goodness of our hearts. Hit the high road. And a few of them would accept that and be like, oh yeah, sorry, but yeah.
This is like from 20 years of mistakes. Like if you're still in high school or in uni or whatever, yeah, do it for free because you're learning, like just helping your mates out.
Yeah.
That's completely different. But if you have any bills to pay, or this is like you're past just living in a sort of a student environment, then yeah, you need to be making sure that people know the value of it.
Yeah. The other thing is everybody now is a bedroom producer who can work from home. So what makes you stand out from anybody else? So, but then that's not to put anybody down. That's to make you think, what strategies can I employ? What can I do? And one strategy is, like I said, get really good and just show people your work and go, this is the level I'm at. If you want this, you pay for this. And if it's that good, people will go, wow, okay, yes, money please, here's money, do the thing. The other option is, like, if you have some skills but you don't have the place to record in, work out a package, find out where your local big studios are that have nice drum rooms and all that kind of thing, work out what their day rate is, add your rate on top even if it's not huge, and then go to a band and say, well, to track the drums and to track the nice analog gear, this is what it would cost a day for me to do it in this studio with you. Because then you're giving them value of, this is the building. It doesn't have to be your building. I mean, our studio is not that kind of studio. We don't do dry hire, but some of the bigger ones do. And so it's all about, like I said, perceived value and what the project needs. And if the band have a budget, what are they spending the budget on? Spell it out for them. I would imagine that there are a lot of bands who would really appreciate that. If you go, okay, well, you've got a budget of this, let's record the drums in this studio that's this rate. I will then we'll record the rest in my little project studio because we don't need a big room for recording bass or whatever, I don't know. Depends on the project, depends on the scope. Then you can say, right, well, I'll mix the rest separately for this much money. Then, listen to it, and then either if you got the budget to send it off for mastering, that would cost this, so you've done your research, or I can do it for this smaller number, which is still a paid number. Yeah, value is a huge thing. Value morally as well as value monetarily. What is your value to the band or the project? Because that's the only way to get paid. Is for the artist to go, well, this is good value for us, whether it's expensive or whether it's cheap. Are they going to come away with more for what they feel than they've actually paid in money?
Yep.
they can pay thousands in money, but if they feel like they've had $1 million production, that's value. If they've only got $100 to rub together and it feels like they've got $1,000 of value, they should still be happy. Hope that helps.
Yeah, that's a good answer.
So yeah, I think we've come down on value there. I could probably make a separate video about that. Yes. Cool. Any more questions, or was that? Oh yeah. Thomas the Bommel said he had an idea for a forum called Mix Buddy for honest mix reviews. You review somebody else's mix with at least 150 words, whatever that is. You get a coin, and with that coin, you post one mix. It sounds like an interesting system. Whether that would hold, I don't know. But I have a rough parallel to this that again, my mate John Brown has riffhard.com, which is the tuition system for rhythm guitar, and they have a Facebook group where they all are encouraged to post videos of themselves playing as they played, like their daily target of, I'm going to play this song today. And the whole point of it is that they get constructive feedback from the rest of the members. And the strict house rules in the group, which is, no trolling, no making fun. The whole point of that group is you are there to learn and to improve. So it's all really positive and really good, and I find really impressive. And if there was a system that was like that for mix engineers, I think that would go down really well. That may be something that's in the works with people I know at the moment. Not exactly that, but I can definitely put that idea to people and see how far it gets.
Cool.
That's the thing. If it's public, something like that, it will become a troll farm quickly, because public putting yourself out there brings idiots. But it's the kind of thing where you would have to have very vigilant moderators. We'll see. But yeah, I'm being purposefully vague in case nothing comes of ideas that my friends have. But I don't want to set people up for disappointment or any of that kind of. But yeah, that sounds like a great idea. And yes, a big shout out to Marty, our mod, for keeping our community wholesome. Very much appreciated. So I think that brings us to a satisfying conclusion to this week's podcast. Thank you everybody for tuning in. Hit the like button if you haven't already done so, which if you're on iTunes or Spotify, I think you'll find a little difficult, and I appreciate that. I mean, hell, if you're on iTunes, leave us a review. Why not? That'd be great. That'd be really appreciated. In the meantime, I'm going to go off and attempt badly to play like Jeff Loomis with this wonderful purple-green guitar. And I will see you all next week.
See you next week.
A goodbye, everybody. Adios. Hey, everyone. That might be the end of the video, but if you fancy carrying on this conversation, we have a Discord server. Link is in the description. We're also on Patreon, which is something you can really help us with. We also are on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Hop Hole Studios. See you there.